In this video, we were talking about Disney's disastrous quarter. The Mouse House is collapsing. Disney Plus tanking. Theme park struggling. Why does Bob Iger hate America? We discuss it up next on OG Video. Welcome aboard, everybody, to another episode of OD55. Obviously, that intro was satire, so don't take it too seriously. But we will answer the question, why does Bob Iger hate America? Right, George? Why does he hate America? No, in all seriousness, welcome to the show, everybody. We are going to talk about Disney's quarterly earnings. We got Mr. Seymour Duck and the Italiano with me today. George, welcome back on the show, brother.
Thanks for having me back on. It's always a good time nerding out with you, fine gentlemen, and it's going to be a great show. I mean, definitely high expectations for the company after the recent quarterly earnings, and definitely the Mouse House is on the rise again. So let's dive into it.
Is it though, George? What are they hiding?
I'm trying to keep the high hopes here, bro. You know, like I'm hurting inside, so I'm like,
I mean, come on, Mr. Seymour Duck. It is awesome having you back on the show, brother. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm just currently looking at the Disney numbers to see if they beat Netflix's theme parks numbers.
Exactly. Well said, sir. But Mr. Seymour Duck, it is always an honor having you on the show, brother. Where can everybody find you on social media?
Yeah, I'm glad to be here to nerd out with you guys with the numbers. You know me with the numbers and being a nerd. But yeah, you can find me on X at Mr. Seymour Duck or all my other social media links at mrduck.social.
There he is, Mr. Duck. Make sure you follow him on all the socials. Okay, so let's dive in. This is courtesy of AP, Associated Press. Disney parks thrive in second quarter, and company adds 1.4 million new streaming subscribers. It says here, this is courtesy of Michelle Chapman. Disney posted solid profits and revenue in the second quarter as its domestic theme parks thrived, and the company added well over 1 million subs to its streaming service. The company also boosted its profit expectations for the year, sending shares up 11% on Wednesday. Disney also announced that it would build a 7th theme park and resort in Abu Dhabi. We're going to break that down a little bit today as well. For the 3 months ended March 30th, Disney earned $3.28 billion or $1.81 per share. The Burbank, California company lost $20 million or a penny per share a year earlier. Mr. Seymour Duck, in a nutshell, what do you think about this earnings call, this quarter?
They did pretty good. They beat expectations in the entertainment side, the streaming side, the park side and experience. But the only thing that kind of fell flat was sports, but everything else they did pretty good. And I was actually impressed. I'm like, okay, Disney is turning it around. Everything's going back up.
Yeah, no, they are. They absolutely are. Now it's interesting because it said the Disney parks thrive in second quarter. Now, look, George and I have been really bullish on Universal lately. Like, it's been no secret. Like, I've been borderline shilling for Universal because I think they've been doing a lot of great stuff with their theme parks, especially out here in Hollywood with things like FanFest and what have you. But you can't deny the numbers. Like, this last earnings call from Comcast, the revenue was down at the Universal parks ahead of the Epic Universe launch. Like, Seymour, do you think that because Disney saw an uptick with their domestic parks. Like, so what's going on? Because Comcast is saying, well, people maybe were saving they're spending money for Epic Universe. But see, that's kind of weird because typically when people go on vacation, especially in Florida, it's like this all-inclusive thing. Like, they go to Disney World, they do the Universal parks. So why would Disney see a bump but Universal wouldn't? And I feel like, I could be wrong. I'm curious to hear your opinion on that, Seymour. But like, why would Disney go up but Universal wouldn't? If it really was the Epic Universe launch, wouldn't you think that Disney would see a hit too? Or no? Am I tripping?
I think this shows how strong the moat for Disney is. and it's stronger than we originally thought. To the point where people who are waiting for Epic Universe are not waiting. If you're a Disney park goer, they're like, it's business as usual. I'm going to Disney, and I think the people who are waiting to go are Disney fans as well. But I think primarily it's the Universal park goers that have waited to go to Epic Universe. They're the
Yeah.
ones who's waiting because people are still going to Disney, even when there's Comcast has made excuses every month for why the park numbers have been going down. It's not just last quarter; it was like 2 quarters ago as well. They've been going down and down. They've been saying, "Oh, the wildfires," and then there's before they were saying that, "Oh, the people are waiting for Epic Universe," but it's not showing up in domestic Disney numbers. They're going up. Attendance is up, right? So
Yeah.
it's like people are still going to the parks for Disney. It's not, like, which means that the Epic Universe fight for the numbers, Disney's strong, strong as ever.
Now, see,
Yeah.
correct me
And
if I'm wrong. I don't know if I read it correctly, but the domestic parks for Disney went up 13%. But was the international parks, did that dip a little bit?
Yeah, it did. Yes,
Okay.
the international parks went down. It could have been for numerous reasons, but if I'm just looking at the numbers, yeah, international numbers went down 5% for, and it could have been because of FX. So a lot of the stuff when you do foreign exchange, the yen has been weaker. Everything when you exchange it back to USD, you actually lose a little bit more money. But yeah, so if the US dollar is stronger, that's what happens. But yeah, international has been down 5% for revenue, and then operating income down. Let me see here, 23%. Yeah, for
okay.
international. So international, ironically, for Disney went down, but domestic went up.
Right, which
So
is interesting to me because, like, Universal was citing the LA fires as a reason why Universal Hollywood saw a dip. But, and I get it, like, it was the LA fires. A lot of those fires were centered in and around, LA County and not Orange County, California. But, Disneyland Resort, while in Orange County, still caters to a lot of locals, which include a lot of LA County families and what have you. So it's just weird to me that, like, Disney wouldn't see that same kind of dip. It's not like everyone that goes to Disneyland as a local, as a Magic Key holder, lives in Orange County. A lot of these locals live in LA County, which were impacted by the fires. So it's weird to me that Universal saw that heavily impacted, but Disney didn't, right? So I don't know. It's kind of strange to me. But what say you about that, George? I mean, you're.
I do
Oh, go
want to say
ahead.
one thing before.
Sure.
I talked about this every time when we discuss the Comcast earnings
Yeah.
and the parks numbers. I have a bad feeling that I don't think Universal can keep up with these numbers that they lost when the Epic Universe is out, right? So when people go to Epic Universe now, I think all those people who've waited months and months and months, there's a max capacity, and I think you're basically eating yourself. Where all these people waited from to go to Universal just to go to Epic Universe, and now tickets are sold out. You can't go. You have to wait. The first few months might be nice, but then after that, you realize that Epic Universe is an extension to the park, and not a new park for a new area in like another country, like Disney's doing now with Abu Dhabi. I think it actually hindered a lot of their cash flows from that, and I think it'll take a bit of time to recover from that. Where Disney, they don't need to because they're just strong as ever. Their moat is strong. The Epic Universe and the wildfires did not hinder this quarter's park numbers, which is pretty impressive.
It is impressive because Disneyland is only like maybe 45 minutes to an hour, maybe with traffic. I mean, from LA, like, it's not that far from these wildfires. And like I said, Disneyland Resorts is a locals heavy park, and a lot of those locals are from LA County. So you would think, yes, Disneyland isn't in LA County, but you would think that it would have impacted Disneyland a lot more if these fires were a huge, part of the equation, and it didn't. So that's really strange to me. But what say you, George?
So for me, yeah, I feel like with the LA fires, I feel that it very well could have potentially hindered Universal. In in that aspect, but I don't think that's like the biggest draw as to why the numbers dropped. I personally feel, as much as I do love Universal, especially Universal Hollywood, and the after hour events are so way beyond of like what Disney's doing right now with the after hours. I don't think that it's enough, as Seymour was saying, to kind of keep up with the numbers of the demand of what Disney is pulling. Because I mean, to be fair, even though Universal Hollywood is a great park, it doesn't have a whole lot to do, so to speak, for a lot of families traveling. But also at the same time, we were saying, we've seen a lot of international travelers specifically at Universal, so it's kind of like a tug and pull kind of thing. But I just feel like, even though Universal Hollywood is great, and as I said, the crown jewel is the tram tour, because you don't really get a real working studio in these parks anymore, especially one that has so much history behind it, like Universal Hollywood. But I just feel the demand for the park itself, not talking about like the after hours events, I feel like Disney still has that edge over Universal.
They do. And look, we just had a live show last night with Cordy in California, hosted by our beloved Mr. Webba. A great show last night. Great live. Check it out if you haven't already. But we talked all about after hours events and how Universal is kicking Disney's butt. So I don't want to hear anything in the comments about how, oh, gee, you guys are just shills. You're shilling for the mouse house. No, we're not. No, we are not. We've been actually way more bullish on Universal lately in terms of the offerings at the parks. I've been at Universal way more than Disney lately, but the numbers are the numbers, you guys. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the numbers are the numbers, and Disney is just performing better. You know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. And fair or not, they just are doing better number wise. So it's kind of interesting. But Seymour, I wanted to ask you, because a big part of this whole earnings call was obviously that big Josh DAmaro thing, right? The parks guy came out and they were saying, now we're going to build a whole new park and resort in Abu Dhabi, right? From the business perspective, not getting into the social stuff and all that, because there's a lot of social commentary with that we can get into on another show maybe, but like in terms of like the business part of it, do you think that, because the stock went up a good amount, like after that call, like, do you feel like the Abu Dhabi thing was like the driving force behind that stock price? Was it maybe just a mix of like the numbers and that announcement, or what say you in regards to that whole dynamic?
From when I was looking at the stock price, right? The stock went up a little bit when before the market was opening, based on the numbers, and then the news came out for that Abu Dhabi, and then it went about a little bit more. And I think it just makes it stronger, the numbers. It makes it that, okay, look at the park's numbers now that we have. It's strong. Imagine what we do when we have a new park. And a park where they're not going to put a lot of capital in it, because they're not going to be paying for it. It's more of a licensing thing, kind of like OLC, if I'm not mistaken, in Japan.
Correct.
And I think that's the way to go, because it's expensive to build your own park. Plus, there's a lot of red tapes in countries like Japan and like, especially in the Middle East. So if you're trying to go through that, you go through a partner who can do it, and if they do it well, then it's going to be great for everyone.
Yeah, no, I think in terms of like from a financial lens, I think that was something that I think the market, I agree with you, the market really liked. And honestly, in terms of the CEO race, look, it's been no secret. Like I said, I have to say it all the time because I don't want to feel like I'm dogpiling on Josh DAmaro, because I'm not. I think he's I think he's a solid dude in terms of a human being. But in terms of like a theme park executive, I'm not like the biggest fan. You know what I'm saying? And he's not my favorite in terms of like the people running for the CEO position. But man, I mean, however I feel about it, I think that announcement has really bolstered his case to become the next CEO. Mm-hmm. I think he is, like I've been saying for well over a year, that I think it's going to be Dana Walden. I think after this earnings call and after this Abu Dhabi thing, I think Wall Street, I think the board, I think Josh has pulled ahead. I got to be honest. I think he has pulled ahead. I think that was a solid, from a financial perspective, you know what I'm saying? And from a business perspective, I think he's pulled ahead in the CEO race. But what say you, George? I mean, we've been following the CEO thing for a while now. We've been saying Dana, but like, I mean, do you feel like Josh is kind of pulling ahead? I feel like he is.
I do, honestly. Within the last, I'd say, week, my thought process has changed a bit. It's almost like with this CEO race between the two of them, between Walden and DAmaro, because I mean, very well they could bring someone else outside of the company, but just within the company walls, I mean, those are the two that are like going neck and neck at the moment. And I was with you, I thought Dana had it in the bag, but more recently when the article dropped with Iger, leading DAmaro to kind of like join, like to take over for him for like the CEO interview, like to talk about the company and everything. I'm like, wow, okay, he's putting all his faith in DAmaro with that. And then making this big drop of the earnings call alongside with DAmaro with a seventh park. And then also too, DAmaro will be doing a Q&A. I was trying to look at the what it was for, but he's doing what is it? Moth. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing this. Mothanison Media. He's doing a Q&A on May 14th, literally 1 week after the earnings drop. So, I mean, Josh is in the spotlight, and who even really knows like what this Q&A is even going to bring out. It almost feels like Groundhog Day, so to speak. It's like, is he going to see his shadow, or are we going to get like 6 more weeks of like waiting to see who's going to be the next CEO? But I think honestly, Josh, it's still anybody's game right now. But as of right now, I'm with you. I think the tables have turned a little bit, and Josh is slowly peaking up the race. And I know we thought they wouldn't go this route again, especially after the blunder of putting a Parks chairman in the CEO chair. But I will say this, and again, I'm holding judgment completely to see what Josh is capable of doing, because I do also think that under his watch, we really didn't see. We've heard big news, we heard big announcements, but we really haven't seen anything completed. But I also feel too, to his credit, Chapek was put in a position that I felt like was unfairly done, where at least this time Josh is being prepped.
Yeah, Josh is being prepped. He obviously has a better situation going into it than Chapek did, And Chapek, Chapek made a lot of his own messes. I mean, he wasn't a great CEO, but you're right though, George. I mean, he got thrown in in February of 2020, and by like March, everything was shut down. One benefit that Josh has, though, I will say that he has over Chapek is Chapek is not exactly like super charismatic, he just isn't. And that's fine. You know what I'm saying? That's fine. That's who he is. But Josh is very charismatic. I mean, he has charisma for days, you know what I'm saying? And Josh is going to be able to smooth and work that machine better, I think, in that way. So that's going to help him. But he's still a Parks guy, though. And I don't know what Wall Street's going to think about that. We talked a lot about it with our friend Alia, in the DMs and through texting and stuff. And, and it's tough, man, because it's like, I don't know. But here's the thing, right? I mean, like we were saying, Seymour, I mean, the stock went up on his announcement of the Abu Dhabi park. So it's like, I mean, it seems like Wall Street, I guess, is kind of bullish on him. I mean, at this point, I guess, right? Based on the stock going up. But go ahead, George.
I think too, I feel like with the numbers of what Disney was pulling in for this quarter, I feel like the stock would have went up, but I don't think it would have went up with the numbers that it did had they not made the announcement with Abu Dhabi.
Right, exactly. And we're going to do a show on the Abu Dhabi thing because there's a lot of social stuff in there that is very interesting that we're going to bring up. Right now, we're only discussing the business end of it. But what say you, Seymour? What do you think about that? I mean, what do you think? Where do you think this puts DAmaro in the CEO race? Do you think this propelled him a little bit? Give him some momentum?
Well, first, I've always been an advocate for an external candidate. I don't think we're going to get one, but I would like one. The second, it does. I think, a co-CEO doesn't look too bad now for Josh and Dana.
Yes, that would actually be. I would love that
I
actually.
think that would be the best scenario.
Because there has been many reports of Bob Iger speaking with the CEOs and the ex-CEO of Netflix, asking how it works because they have co-CEOs.
Yeah.
So they wanted to know if that would work. I guess he had talks. You know, I always think like these CEOs in Hollywood, they're always in a room together having a meeting every month. It's like, hey, how's everything?
Yeah.
And I'm sure Bob Iger speaks to them and say, hey. So I think he talks to people and wants to know if a co-CEO will work for a company like Disney, because it's when they bought Fox, it's getting bigger. The whole company itself is getting bigger. So I can see why they would go that route and do co-CEOs, because the parks is now like an own entity of itself, and you don't want another disaster like Chapek where everything just falls apart because you're focusing on one thing and not the other, or you spend too much money at streaming and you don't have enough to invest in the parks. Like a lot of these things need to balance out, and I think if you have co-CEOs who understand their sectors, right, one who understands entertainment and one understands parks, right, that would be great, and they come together, they work with the CFO, and it's good to go.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Seymour. And the thing is like I've said all along that I think that the studio side of things right now, it's very volatile still. I mean, we still have like the streaming stuff, and the theater business isn't like completely on stable ground. So it's good to have a studio person in the room running the company, because you can train Josh DAmaro for a year and a half or whatever it is, but it's not the same as all that experience that a Dana Walden would kind of have over the years. You know what I'm saying? It would be great to have her or someone that like that who's embedded in that studio side. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Especially where Dana Walden has that background from all the way from Fox with the General Entertainment. Disney bought Fox. They have the whole Hulu side they need to rectify, which is new to Disney, right? And you need somebody who's been there in the business.
Yeah, 100%.
Dana is perfect. She's been crushing it with the Hulu side, right? Hulu numbers still went up, even though it went up like 1 million subscribers, even though it's only in the U.S.
That's wild to me. And we're gonna get into those. We're gonna get into some of that streaming numbers in a second.
Yeah,
but
she's doing pretty good. And Bob Iger said in the earnings call though that they realized they made mistakes in the movies and the TV shows for streaming, and going forward now it's going to be all about that quality. They effed up, and going forward, starting from Thunderbolts, right, you will start to see a trend of good quality content coming from Disney.
Yeah.
And I think that also pushed the stock up a little bit as well, realizing that, okay, so we have Thunderbolts, we have Lilo and Stitch, right? We have Fantastic Four, right? All these movies are coming out, these real good movies that people are excited for. And, you have Avengers Doomsday, like all these big movies. And the third Avatar, like all these big hitters. Zootopia, yes. I think the bad movies that are we've seen, or the mid, Captain America and Snow White, right? That's the end of it. Those were the era of Bob Chapek that's now being left away. That They tried their best to salvage what they had, but you need somebody now going in the future, because you don't want to go ruin that. And I think if you get Dana Walden and all them and Josh as it's perfect.
Yeah, no, well said. Yeah, you're right, because you have a strong lineup. Like Thunderbolts, getting great word of mouth, right? People love it. Our buddy Josh from Den of Nerds, he dug it. And Josh is really fair. I really like Josh and respect him a whole lot. And everybody, if you're not following or subscribed to Den of Nerds, you got to. He has the best live shows. I love his live shows. If you're into nerdy stuff like Marvel and Star Wars, he's your guy for sure. But you got Lilo and Stitch, which is outpacing everything, right? The tracking is great for that movie. That thing is going to hit $1 billion. I'm certain of it. That movie's going to hit $1 billion for sure. But then you have Fantastic Four. You got all these heavy hitters coming out. So it looks good, man. It does.
You know what I find funny is that you see a lot of people when Snow White came out, cancel live action. Don't do live action. But then Lilo and Stitch comes out. Oh, this is amazing. I'm like, that's live action as well.
It's live action.
At the end of the day, it's all about the quality of the content, right? You can make as many excuses you want, but it's the quality of the content. I watched Captain America, right? It was for me, it was mid. It wasn't that great. I watched Snow White. It was mid. It wasn't that great. But I watched Thunderbolts, and I'm just like, whoa, okay. I can see the difference, the massive difference. And I'd be like I can see the synergy with even just the cast members together and the writing. And it's like somebody did a really good job here. Please let them do more movies.
Yes. Well, and that's the thing, right? And I've said it for a really long time, Seymour. And like, I'm not a huge fan of the idea of the live action remakes. But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. To be fair, people will say like, oh, there's Star Wars fatigue. Oh, there's Marvel fatigue. Or there really isn't such thing as fatigue in this industry. Really what it is if you continuously make fantastic quality content, people will show up. And the Lilo and Stitch thing is proof of that, right? People aren't necessarily sick of live action remakes. They're just sick of mid or crappy live action remakes. But when a good one comes around, they line up in droves. Lilo and Stitch, oh yeah, we're on board. Snow White doesn't look good. We're not going to see it, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, Marvel. I mean, leading up to Endgame, I mean, so many of those movies made $1 billion, There was no Marvel fatigue. People kept going to the theater to see these films. As long as you're churning out really quality content, they will show up. So if the live action remakes are quality and they don't look like garbage, they're going to do really well,
And
so
one point I just want to state is that Thunderbolts was $180 million compared to all the other movies where like Captain America and Snow White was a little bit higher. You don't need a bigger budget to make good movies.
No, exactly. And I think that Snow White and a lot of these other movies, I think we're kind of coming out of it, but some of these other films had like that, it was like that COVID era, right? The Rona.
Yeah.
So that inflated the budgets too, but we're coming out of that now, like you were saying, right?
Yes. And I forget which actor who said it, but I remember it on YouTube. He says that, you can put money, you can throw money at a movie and put all these special effects, but it's not going to make it any better. If a movie is bad, a movie is bad.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. More money doesn't always equal better. Like in the theme park, for our theme park nerds out there, right? Rocket Rods was a very expensive attraction to run and maintain, and all, but it was not really that great in terms of quality, in terms of like the experience, But it was expensive, right? So yeah, sometimes more money doesn't always equal better product, So.
And Netflix had their own big movie, Electric State, and it was like $320 million budget, a movie that's not released in the theaters. It was on streaming, and nobody wants to talk about it because they're afraid to talk about anything negative about Netflix, how it really flopped with, well, I guess it was okay viewership numbers on Netflix, but for a movie that cost $320 million, where you get zero return from it, because you're not releasing it in the movie theater, it's all about subscribers and ensuring that they stay on the platform. That's pretty bad. And 320 million, and it has Chris Pratt in it, and it still didn't do well. That's another example.
Yep, well said. Italiano, anything you want to add before we move on to streaming?
Yeah, I just want to go back just a little bit, talking about like the, kind of going like the back and forth, like between like with Walden and DAmaro of, could there possibly be a dual CEO? I think honestly that's the best route to take. I think Disney is just that well-oiled machine where it has so many entities underneath its belt that you would need someone that can kind of use their strong suit, so to speak, in the company space. And I think Walden is obviously good for the business side. DAmaro is good for the creative, like entertainment value. So that's where it kind of, balances out. Going to the film side of it for the studio, yeah, I think we're kind of like at the back end of everything kind of getting flushed out, during that Chapek era. I think, Brave New World and Snow White are like the rump roasts, so to speak, of that. And then moving forward, I still don't know about Elio. Elio is still going to be kind of telling, because I felt like Elio was like in that middle spot where they were trying to move out of what they were doing. So, and I think that's why it had so many rewrites and changes. So we'll see how Elio goes. However, with the economic impact, global impact, it is, nice to see that Lilo and Stitch and Elio will be released in China. So that's still good. So again, was that would Dana Walden be essentially part of that?
I think Dana's more the television streaming side, if I'm not mistaken. Correct, Mr. Duck?
Yes.
I think Bergman would Alan Bergman would,
that's right.
would be more on that other end of, if I'm not mistaken. Go ahead, Seymour.
Yeah, I'm just double checking on that. I'll get back to you when I figured that out.
Okay.
Well, and whoever is part of it, whether it's Bergman or
no, it's both of them. They're co-chairs of Disney Entertainment, so it's Dana Walden and Alan Bergman.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you, Mr. Duck. Appreciate that.
So,
Appreciate
and another major breakthrough, with that. So again, Dana and Josh are kind of going like head to head with this, but again, they utilize their strong suits. So it's like, why not utilize them both? I mean, the company was founded, with Walton Roy, and then moving forward with Eisner and Wells. It just shows that it works really well in that space with this company. And no matter what choice is made, yes, no one is perfect. Someone's going to have their weaknesses and flaws, but it cannot be a blunder of a decision that was made the last time, because Iger doesn't have any more get out of jail free cards left in his pocket. This is it. When he's done, he's done. And whoever stepped into CEO, that's who it is.
Well, and this time they're doing it right. They got the guy from, is it Gorman, Mr. Duck? I believe from.
James.
Yeah, James Gorman. Yeah, and they got him. They got this succession board and all that. So thankfully, it's not completely just up to Bob. They got this whole board that's going to look into it. So that's good. That's really good. So we'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out. But we do have some streaming to talk about. I'm very curious, Mr. Duck, to hear your thoughts on this, because this is actually pretty fascinating. It says here, Disney's streaming business continues to grow. Its direct-to-consumer business, which includes Disney Plus and Hulu, posted quarterly operating income of $336 million compared to $47 million in the year prior. Revenue increased 8%. That's pretty solid, man. That's pretty solid. It says here the Disney Plus streaming service had a 2% increase in paid subscribers domestically, which includes US and Canada. Shout out to Canada. Let's go, baby. There was a 1% rise internationally, which excludes Disney Plus Hotstar. Okay. And it says here, quote, a perfect cocktail of content helped Disney deliver a better than expected quarter as the company's streaming business continues to grow profitability, end quote. Mike Praux, he's a Forrester vice president and research director, said in an email, quote, as Disney eyes investments in local international content, it could be a sign that it's trying to more directly take on Netflix, which is known for a strong international slate. What say you, Mr. Duck, in regards to streaming?
It's doing pretty good. It's going up and up, and that's what I wanted to see, because for the longest time people thought this was just going to be a money pit of them losing money. And you have other companies like Comcast, where Peacock is losing money, Paramount is losing money, Warner Brothers is the exception. They're actually make money off of it. It's because of their Discovery Plus, where they have a lot of the reality TV shows that are really cheaply made that props up the cost. And then there's a lot of like, oh, we made HBO shows for streaming, but it's also on HBO, so they can take the cost as linear. But besides that, they're profitable as well. But yeah, Disney, they're going up and up, and I like that. It's showing a path of growth that people wanted to see, right? And you're seeing growth in subscriber numbers, which Netflix doesn't announce anymore. And now you're seeing growth in profitability as well. Look, it's a small growth, but Disney stated that they're not looking for growing their service as fast as they did before. They're just looking to maintain that growth while they make better content. And like I said before, Bob Iger mentioned on there that they understand they made really bad Marvel streaming shows, and they're going to focus on making better ones. Yeah. And yeah, you can see these numbers. The only thing that really fell off was like the live TV sector, but it's like people are still subscribing to Hulu on demand, right? And still subscribing to Disney Plus. It's good. I see
Yeah.
these numbers, and it's going up and up, and even international, right? Up 5%. International, yeah, up 1%. In the revenue, no, in subscribers, yeah. So and then 2% in domestic, but in like profitability wise, up 5% for international, 1% for domestic. It's doing well.
Yeah, yeah. The only thing that took a little bit of a nosedive, you were saying, was the sports stuff, right, Seymour?
Um, well, yeah, outside. Well, that's outside of streaming, but yeah, sports went down. But I'm just talking about the just the Hulu live TV sector that went down
Gotcha.
for subscribers. But I mean,
Gotcha.
like people are just going to streaming anyways. They do, that's more of an expensive product.
Yeah.
That's okay for me. If I was looking at these numbers, I'm like, oh, Hulu live TV, that's okay because they're making it up for Disney Plus, and I think that's what's happening. Where you get the bundle for Disney Plus, you get the Hulu and ESPN included.
Well said. What say you, Italiano?
Yeah, I mean, I think on pretty much all sectors of this with this particular quarter earnings, I feel like Disney is on the bound of like moving up, and and I feel like Disney was never really worried about it. They were going through economic turmoil just like every other company was, but it's not really how they got there. It's like how do they get themselves out of it, and the numbers are showing they're on the up track of that. And so I mean, as far as like the streaming, Disney said it's not really going to make it's profitable revenue starting out, but after so many years it will hit that margin, and obviously it's
Starting to
doing
see.
yeah.
Yeah, we're starting to
And
see
it,
it.
oh, sorry, I was just gonna say, and it did it in like 4 years, and I don't think people give enough credit for that
All right.
because like Netflix took many years to become profitable.
Yeah.
And I see the excuses online. Oh, but Disney Plus is not as strong as Netflix. Not, it doesn't need to be strong. I see Disney Plus as more of a niche service where if you're a fan of their IPs or you're into sports and general entertainment that Disney provides, that's what you go. They have the content that you like and the IPs that you like. If you just want a full on content wherever you want to see, then you just go to Netflix. But I think Disney Plus is that niche service, right? But a niche service for everyone in the family. And
Right.
I think, and plus, it's like only 25% of the revenue for the company, so it's not like it's taking over everything. Because, like I mentioned in the beginning, I was looking at the numbers from Netflix's parks numbers, and I don't see any.
Yeah, exactly.
Why are we comparing Disney Plus as it should be competing with Netflix when Netflix is not competing in everywhere else in the business? It's not apples to apples. Disney Plus doesn't meet Netflix, yet they're the third biggest streaming company in North America.
Right. The streaming sector of Disney is a piece of Disney, not the entire thing. The streaming sector of Netflix is the entire pie. So you're right, Seymour. It's completely I think it's unfair to kind of pit these two together. You know what I'm saying? Now the stock before this earnings call was like in the 90s.
Yeah, if you hit 5 days, you can actually see that.
It hit 5 days. Okay, let me go ahead and do that right now, brother.
Yeah, you can
So
see the jump.
you can see the jump. It was 90, 92 ish. Had the earnings call, went up to 102. And look, we're a day out, a full 24 hours at the time of this recording, and we're still up. We're well over 100 now. We're 105. So I mean, is this going to hold, Seymour, or what are you thinking?
It gives. I don't like. For me, when I invest, I don't care for the numbers going up and down, as long as the fundamentals of the business improves. But this gives positive sentiment within the company that shareholders and even new shareholders, right, who are buying in because they're buying in now, are seeing a positive growth within the company. That's why when they announced the new park, they see they're excited because it's new positive growth for them. And I don't want to get too political, but it shows that Disney is willing to work with in different countries where they have different laws and different religions, and it's like, and I've stated this before, that Disney is a company that caters to a worldwide audience. You have people in China, you have people in Japan, right? You have people all over Europe, in Asia, and in North America. It's not surprising that they're making a park there.
Yeah, they're expanding.
Yeah.
They definitely are. From a business perspective, you can see why. I mean,
Yeah.
SeaWorld and Warner Brothers both have parks out there right now. So, I mean, Disney was probably looking at the numbers in terms of like what those parks are doing. They're also looking at the numbers probably as to what the people in that region, what they think of the Disney brand. Believe me, there's so much that goes into where they put parks, especially for Disney, because Disney doesn't build new parks very often. They're pretty far and few between. So, and again, the social end of it is a completely different conversation. But from a business perspective, you could see why they did it. So, yeah, it's pretty wild. What say you, Mr. Italiano?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it was a good chess move, so to speak, on their part. And you're right, it is very far in between for them to make a theme park. And I felt like that they waited for the opportune time where it would work in their favor. And I think they picked the right time. I mean, a lot of people have their thoughts and opinions on the location, which we'll get into another time, but
another video. Yeah. Because there's a lot to dive into with that, and I do have some thoughts on that. Like from for this video personally, I'm just talking business end of it. Yeah. But go ahead, George.
But I think, as it being a business, the fact that Abu Dhabi wants to basically, pull the OLC card, so to speak, and is willing to construct and finance it itself, that's a golden egg for Disney. Especially in a business sector, the fact that it will not take any money out of the company's pocket, nor would hinder the $30 billion investment on the domestic parks, or the $60 billion worldwide, whatever it was, I believe. I think that's what it was. The fact that that's not even part of that, all really Disney has to do is with WDI is to, build these immersive lands and attractions and projects and what have you. And even though it's going overseas as an international park, it's going to create a lot more jobs over here domestically in the WDI departments.
Right. That is a benefit. Yes. We will see, I think, a pretty big influx of Imagineering jobs. Absolutely. And new park, new resort, they're going to have to hire a lot more, which is cool. That's good. That's really good. But Italiano, Mr. Seymour Duck, it is always an honor having you gentlemen on. Mr. Seymour Duck, any final closing thoughts before we get out of here?
Yeah. One thing I wanted to state, that Disney's not cooking the numbers.
Oh yeah.
I've seen a lot of reports that, like, where's the cost for Captain America, Snow White? Why is it in here? It is in there. It's all in there. You look at the operating income, which shows like their core businesses, which is entertainment, experiences, and sports, and it's there, and they show you. And then they go even more further with entertainment, with like linear and direct to consumer, and then with the experiences, they go even further with the international and domestic. But it's all there, and they show you that it's there. They're not hiding anything. And no. People always say, but they're cooking the books. I'm like, listen, if they're cooking the books, you're going to hear it all over the world. It's going to be Enron 2.0. It's highly illegal to cook the books, to fake the numbers. You might have a good accountant, right, to do this. When you audit the numbers, that's not illegal. We looked at Comcast earnings the other day, right? And Comcast uses adjusted EBITDA to take out all the bad numbers. That's not illegal either, but they have to specify it on there. So you have to look at the fine print, see what page it's at, go to the bottom, see what they took out. But somebody who doesn't understand finance will just be like, oh, look, even though they had bad numbers, they still adjusted it to make it look better than it was. Here with operating income, they wasn't adjusted. It's strictly operating income. It's all the expenses, everything that's been in, and you You take it away from your revenue and you got operating income. It's as simple as that. There's no cook in the books. You can see everything as light as day. It's open for the public to see. So yeah, this includes Captain America and these numbers. When we look at entertainment being up 9% in revenue, 79% in operating income, that's great. And you look at 79, yeah, and you look at sports up 38%. And no, sorry, yeah, that was by the year. Let's go to the quarter. Yeah, up 9% entertainment for the quarter, 61% in operating income for entertainment, and then you get 9% for experiences for operating income, and then revenue up 6%. Yeah, they're doing really, really great, and these numbers show 4.4 billion in operating income, and that's great. That's more than Netflix, and Netflix is worth like $500 billion now of a company. Yeah, it's Disney that's producing the better cash flows.
Well, and here's the thing,
too,
go ahead.
Not to mention, if you cook the books, I can't imagine that tasting very well.
Yeah, right. Exactly. But here's the thing too, with the whole cooking the book thing. This is a classic example of like, there are people that have a narrative, and the numbers run counter to the narrative. So we got to figure something out. Like, so we can't be wrong, right? I mean, there's no way we can be wrong. So they must be cooking the books. It's like, no, they're not. Okay. Like you were saying, Seymour, it would be Enron 2.0. You would hear, it would be all, come on. It's ridiculous. Just take the L, say, hey, you know what? We thought the mouse house was going to collapse because they went super woke, and you know what? They didn't. Okay. They're actually doing pretty good. Just say it like it is. Just be honest. But instead, a lot of people get out there and they gotta dance around and do all this mental gymnastics to sort of pretend like they're right. Oh, yeah, don't believe your lying eyes, everybody. The quarter actually really sucked. Disney's hiding and they're cooking the books. They're doing this, that, and the other, and the deep state or whatever nonsense they're fucking pushing. It's ridiculous. Go ahead.
And the way they show it, where a lot of the companies should be showing it, unlike, I don't like when people use adjusted things, right? Adjusted, even like Comcast. When you do operating income, it shows the core businesses. So it's just the businesses themselves. So if they get any inflows from selling things and buying things, that's not going to be represented in there, because it's just showing you the health of the business itself, which is the most important thing, right? It's for example, if Comcast got a big check from Disney for buying, for Disney buying the rest of Hulu, right? If you showed operating income, that wouldn't be in there. That's a one-time thing. So that's why I like when people show operating income, because it shows the core businesses and how the health of it. Because some people will tell me, well, you need to look at net income, you need to look at this, you need to look at that. I'm like, no, operating income is basically what you need to know. Just want to know the health of the company, how they're doing, the money that you put into it, coming out of it, and this is the results. This is it. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Basically, Disney's revenue went up 7%. Their operating income went up 15%. That's basically it. That's all you really need to know.
Right. And some people might not like to hear that, but the numbers and the reality is the reality. And you can pretend like there's some conspiracy to this, but it's nonsense. It's really nonsense, Mr. Duck. I mean, I don't know. It's frustrating, but I appreciate you gentlemen. Always fun talking shop with you, Mr. Italiano, the founder of Citrico Central. Where can everybody find you on social media, sir?
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You can also find me on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you can find me right here on my home base on Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info. And you could also check out my new YouTube channel, Citrico Central, sister channel to Orange Grove 55.
There we go. Mr. Seymour Duck. Where can everybody find you on social media, sir?
Yeah, you can find me on X at Mr. Seymour Duck, or you can go to MrDuck.social for all my other social media links.
There he is. Go support Mr. Duck. He is brilliant. We love Mr. Duck. Awesome content, whether he's on here with us or whether he's on X. Make sure you go ahead and follow him and show him all the love. Thank you all so much for watching this episode of OG 55. And until the next time, see you later, outlet.
Thank you for watching OG 55. If you aren't already, consider becoming a member today.